what all matters? What do I want to do? What are we doing here? So,
well, if you have a reputation that has a life of its own, it becomes very difficult to distinguish between yourself and that reputation.
Sure.
And that's one of the pitfalls of fame. And lots of times you see people sacrifice themselves to their reputation. You see celebrities becoming impersonators of themselves.
Yes.
And it's a tragic fate, I would say. And
well, that's when you go, who's wagging who? I've never wanted my fame to wag me. I mean, like, no. I understand I got famous because of who, to whatever extent, because of who I am. And what did I do? I
could see in the book that you were snapping yourself out of your fame, even while you were doing things like the motorhome adventures, because you were living a life that certainly wasn't what I expected to read, that you would voluntarily abandon what so many people value as like the pinnacle of cultural achievement, say at the popular level, and shed all that and set out like any person who doesn't have that.
Right. Well, what I was like, for instance, in the South American trip, and it happened in the Mali trips and all the walkabouts, I needed to go to a place where I'd just become famous too. I mean, my world was like, all of a sudden, all the options were mine. Mm-hmm. And 2 days before, none of those options were there. And now it was a world of yes. And I'm going, I only have 24 hours in a day, and I would do any of this work. And you're now telling me I can do it all?
Yeah.
You're asking me to be discerning right now? And again, I went away to go, I need to go where someone doesn't know my name. I need to go away where no one's seen my movies. I want to go where there's no electricity. I want to go someplace where those hugs and tears when I say goodbye 22 days later are based only off of the man they met 22 days ago.
Well, you managed to abandon them too. One of the problems with being famous is, and I suspect this is particularly the case with the kind of fame that you have, is that it must be very difficult to distinguish between people wanting something from you and people enjoying your company and liking you. And it might even be difficult for them to distinguish between those things, because fame is a very difficult thing to deal with, even as an onlooker, even as a family member. You wrote about your mom's reaction, for example. She became a fangirl to some degree, and that would be definitely disconcerting.
Yes, it was. Yeah, I had 8 years there where my mom and I needed a mother. And what on the other end of the phone was a fan of my fame, someone who wanted my fame more than I did.
Right. Well, it shows you the power of that too, because your mother obviously cared for the person you were before you became famous, but Absolutely. She was overwhelmed. And it's not surprising. I mean, to some degree, the entire Hollywood apparatus exists to manufacture fame that's overwhelming. That's its whole, I can't say that's its whole purpose, but that's what it uses to drive, let's say, to drive people to the theater. So to be victimized by that, to fall under the sway of that is unsurprising. It's surprising that it could be resisted. And that was certainly, you could certainly see that with your mother's response.
Oh, for sure.
And I'm sorry, I don't remember. Is your mom still alive?
Yes, she is. She's 88 years young and with us right now.
So, and has that situation rectified itself? Did she adapt to?
We both adapted.
Yeah.
I got through enough time where I felt stable enough in my career that I was like, her loose lips aren't going to sink my ship. And actually, I let go the reins. And as soon as I said, "You go, Mom, here's the mic. Hit that red carpet line. You can talk to anybody. You tell, no filter. Sell whatever stories you want." 99% of the time, it's awesome. And I'm like, you know what? Let her enjoy it. And I was able to enjoy it. And then come to that, realization that, I wasn't going to change her. So because I couldn't change her, it's kind of like the sabbatical I took from the rom-coms. I wasn't going to change her, so I just had to kind of block her out for a certain amount of time that ended up being 8 years until I was stable enough to go for it. And yeah, our relationship's great. And, all through that time, she didn't love me less. She's loved me in a new, different way, as well as being her son. What I was needing was I needed her to double down on being a mom to me.
Right.
Where instead of, she didn't double down, she didn't even cut it in half. She kind of was really wanting to know about the fame part. And I remember telling her things like, well, you keep wanting to come out here and see me, but what if I was an accountant in Chicago? Would you want to come see me as much? And my two brothers were like, you don't want to come see us as much. You want to see little brother. And we were like, yeah, we get it, So we call her out. And yeah, it was a strange 8 years. I never questioned her love for me, though. I knew we were going to be fine. I knew we weren't going to head to our deathbeds going on a bad note.